New York City, America's financial engine, just elected Zoran Mamdani, a self-described democratic socialist. He's also an actor, a rapper, with the boldest, most expensive agenda the city has ever seen. Everyone expected fireworks between him and President Trump. Instead, they shook hands in the Oval Office like long-lost workers united at a corporate retreat. And the entire country asked, what just happened and what happened next? Today, we're breaking down why crime may explode in NYC, why is free buses, free childcare, and frozen rents can't happen, why the rich might flee, why the Trump Mamdani meeting shocked both sides, how the experiment could collapse the city, and how this set up the 2028 presidential race. Welcome to Conversations, where finance, technology, industry, and politics collide. Grab a drink. This one is gonna be wild. Zoran Mamdani didn't just run for mayor. He ran as a political flamethrower, a progressive warrior, a socialist champion. He promised free public transit, free city-run childcare, government-run grocery stores, frozen rents, city-built housing, higher taxes on corporations, higher taxes on wealthy neighborhoods. And he campaigned hard against President Trump, called him everything in short of a comic book villain. So naturally, the first major headlines after his victory was Mamdani requests meeting with President Trump. And then the second headline was the meeting was friendly. Friendly? People would nearly fell out of their chairs during the meetings. This is political equivalent of Batman inviting the Joker for brunch. Which brings us to the shocking meeting at the White House. Everything you heard, everything you're about to hear based on the news that's provided to me. And I'm just recapturing what I heard. Mamdani goes from Trump is the fastest to, hey Donald, how are you, bro? During the campaign, Mamdani messaging about Trump was brutal. But after the elections, reality hit him harder than the New York rent bill. Suddenly, the mayor-elect needed money. Lots and lots of money. For buses, housing, childcare, groceries, basically everything. He discovered NYC can't raise incomes without the governor. And the governor, Kathy Hochul, already said, no new taxes. NYC budget is already in crisis. NYC depends on tens of billions of federal funding. So Mamdani swallowed his pride and called Trump. That's not politics. That's survival instinct. The tone inside the Oval Office was warm. Can you believe it? It was warm. The reporters walk in and expect a cage match. WWF or Worldwide Wrestling or these cage match boxing these days. Instead, they saw smiles, compliments, handshakes, and corporations. Trump congratulated Mamdani like he was welcoming a new intern. He beat some very, very smart, very tough opponents, Trump said about Mamdani. Trump even said, there's no differences in party. We're going to help him make New York City strong and safe. That's not the Trump we saw in debates. That's the Trump in the episode of The Apprentice where he tried acting nice for about 5 minutes. Was it genuine? Was it strategy? Was it just too much caffeine on his Diet Coke? We may never know. So, at one point, the reporter asked Mamdani, "Do you still think Trump is a fascist?" Mamdani tried to filibuster, then Trump cut him off. Trump just say yes. I've been called worse. I've been called a despot by Mamdani, which is not the worst thing in the world. I've been called much worse. So Mamdani said, "Okay, it's easier." The whole room laughed. It was the most awkward okay in political history. The moments perfectly summarize the politics of today. They say what they say in the campaign. After they win, it's a different story altogether. Now, the next question was about the police. The police question exposed the huge problems that Mamdani has. So one the reporter asked, "What will you do if thousands of PYD officers resigns on day one?" Mamdani said, "I don't think that's what happened." So the reporter asked again, "But if it does happen, what will you do?" Mamdani said, "I don't think it will happen." This man's crisis plan is basically a motivational poster, while Trump was like, "A safe New York is a great New York." Translation: support the law enforcement in New York City or you will get no federal funding. The next question was about tax question that left Mamdani twisted like a pretzel. One of the reporters asked about the shifting taxes from the minority areas where white-based neighborhoods. Mamdani tried desperately to clarify, "I meant neighborhoods, not race." So Trump sat there silently, watching, enjoying the moment, letting the moment marinate and twisted Mamdani and marinate him like a perfect seasoned steak before it's thrown on the grill. The clip went viral instantly. Shockingly, they actually agree on things. They agree on faster housing constructions, cutting red tape, lower grocery prices, ending forever wars, fixing permanent bureaucracy. This is the political versions of two people saying, "I hate you too, but do you want to go out and grab a drink and lunch?" It was bizarre, unexpected, and it's kind of historic actually. And let's dive into why Mamdani really changed his mind. Was it smart? Was it foolish? Or was it just political? Mamdani realized that his promises cost billions. The governor won't raise taxes. The math doesn't math. NYC dependent on federal dollars. Fighting Trump equal losing those dollars. Losing dollars means fail at his job. And as a failed mayor, which means his political career is over. This wasn't a sellout. This wasn't a betrayal. This was survival. And honestly, it was smart. Very, very smart. Why the NYC experiment will fail. Let's walk into this. Now let's step back and look at the big picture. The Trump administration won't fully fund NYC long term. The handshake was cute. The smile was warm. The quotes were sweet. But once the campaign stopped rolling, Trump is still Trump. He's not going to fund policies he's considered to be socialist experiments. Expect this. Transit's funding will be cut. Housing grants will be tightened. Federal support will decrease. Public safety tied to law enforcement must be compliance, else Trump will cut funding. And I'm not going to rule out Trump sending the National Guard into NYC if things get bad. It is his home after all. He was born there. He grew up there. It's a city that gives him the rights, and he's going to protect it. And especially if he can protect it from the socialist commie, as he called Mamdani during the campaign. Mamdani can shake all the hands he wants, but he's still not going to get the blank checks he needs to give out everything free. Crime could skyrocket. NYPD is already understaffed. The morale is low. Retirements are high. So Mamdani wants fewer police at protests, more oversight, progressive-style public safety. But criminals don't care about politics or theory. They will do what they always do. When enforcement drops, even psychologically, crimes will increase. And when crime rises, what do taxpayers' family do? They leave, which create part 2 of the rich will flee again. New York top earner pays over 50% of the city taxes. You know what they have? They have options. Long Island, Westchester, Connecticut, New Jersey, Florida, and Texas, And if NYC becomes the sequel of the 2021 Exodus, the city budgets will collapse. Service collapse. Transit collapse. Bus and train. The Mamdani agenda will collapse. And this is how the city will crumble. And then everybody will be snack pisking in the movie Escape from New York in the 80s or 90s. I can't remember. Everybody will be snack pisking during the Mamdani administration. Free buses can never happen. Why? Well, because the mayor doesn't control the MTA, Metro Transit Authority. The promise is like ordering food at restaurant and giving out free food that you don't even own. No money equal no free anything. The government grocery store will fail. Why? Because government cannot compete on price, compete on logistics, stop theft, make profits, operate efficiently. We already saw similar attempts fail in Chicago, Philly, San Francisco, might be Seattle as well. The government grocery store are like New Coke. It has good intention, but it doesn't work. It will fail. Rent freezes will destroy housing quality. If the landlord can't raise the rents, covering rising costs, pay for the maintenance, make repair, the building will rot. They will get abandoned and then turn to the crime alley center. Cities tried this before, and it ends the same way every time. Housing will collapse. Now, this Trump Mamdani drama sets up the 2028 agenda. The meeting did something unexpected. It makes Trump look presidential. It makes Mamdani look overwhelmed. It exposed progressive policies to the nation's spotlight. It creates clear contrasts for the 2028 elections, which set the stage for J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio 2028 versus the fractured Democrat Party. trying to explain their most progressive mayor suddenly cry out for federal help. This Oval Office handshake might end up in the future history books, I say, the day the 2028 elections begun. Now let's take a look at the fate of New York, of what will happen next. Mamdani must govern, not campaign. He cannot rely on ideology, rhetoric, slogans, protests. He must balance Trump, the governor, the budget crisis, the frustrated NYPD who are retiring and not joining the police in NYC. The wealthy New Yorkers are fleeing, leaving. The progressive, they are demanding radical change. It's an impossible puzzle. The progressive base will turn on him. Mamdani, I mean. Many already did. The online activists are already calling him a sellout, a traitor, a moderate in disguise, too soft. And he is just another politician. He's walking a tightrope. Work with Trump and lose the progressive. Fight Trump, lose NYC. This is a no-win situation for him. NYC is America test case. If New York City collapses, housing crisis worsens, crime spikes upward, businesses shut down and leave, residents flee, rich and middle class, taxes skyrocket, budgets fall apart, and the nation will say the progressive governance doesn't work. If NYC somehow survives, people will say it survived despite the agenda, not because of it. Either way, the ideology loses. Let's wrap this thing up. In conclusion, this is more a story about the mayor, more than a meeting, more than a handshake. This is a live political experiment unfolding in the biggest city in America, and the stakes are enormous. The future of the progressive parties, the fate of New York City economy, national safety policy, the 2028 presidential race, and America's definition of governance. What happened yesterday, a couple days ago, on November 21st in the Oval Office wasn't just surprising, it was historic. For a moment, two political enemies cooperated. The corporation doesn't erase the economic reality, and reality doesn't care about politics or ideology. New York heading toward a collision with math, money, and manpower. And Mamdani, for all his energy, youth, and idealism, is running out of all three. This is Conversations where we talk about politics, tech, money, and the forces that are shaping our world and everyday life. Sorry I've been away for so long. I hope to make more video on this. I thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks, friends, for watching.